Welcome to Hack Your Happiness.
We're all going through recovery and discovery at the same time. Recovery of your past, which is going to be different because you're two different people. Recovery of what you're currently going through. And if you're not careful, though, you'll get caught up what I call the recovery zone, and you'll miss the discovery zone. The discovery is the unfolding of the beautiful sides of life.
Are you a teen or adult looking for more happiness in every day and ways to connect with people in your life?
You've come to the right place. Hack Your Happiness is a podcast designed to bring you the behind the scenes of what brings iconic individuals happiness, plus their life hacks.
I'm Mercedes.
And I'm Anastasia.
And we're the two teens behind Small Bits of Happiness.
We're interviewing Olympic athletes, entrepreneurs, celebrities, and more.
Throughout all of our episodes, you'll find great conversations, hacks that you can take away and try in your life, inspiration, as well as unique and surprising insights. Today, we are speaking with Tim Storey. Tim Storey is an iconic author, speaker, pop culture thought leader, life strategist, and counselor. Credited for enhancing the lives of millions, he has traveled to 75 countries, helping people visualize and realize the best versions of themselves. Whether they're at a high point in their lives or experiencing their lowest valley, he's brought people all over the world a new miracle mentality and enabled them to turn their setbacks into comebacks.
Through his best-selling books, presentations, and strategy sessions, his mission is to bring light to all the possibilities that are too often blocked by fear or hidden by one's limited viewpoint. Whether one-on-one or groups of more than 20,000, he is able to connect on a personal level with everyone. Tim is a regular guest and commentator on national television, having been interviewed by Oprah Winfrey, Steve Harvey, The Today Show, Good Morning America, CNN, and more.
Some well-known individuals who have attended Tim's sessions include Kanye West and Robert Downey Jr. Welcome, Tim!
Iconic! That's a good word.
So you are such an iconic public speaker and life coach, but take us back to the beginning. How did your journey begin?
So I think that in life, some things you decide, other things you discover, right? So when I was a kid, I loved sports, baseball, basketball, and football. I know you guys are in Canada, so you guys will do things like hockey. That was not happening where I was from in LA so often. But I love baseball, basketball, and football. So when I was a little guy, I wanted to do sports, okay? But I'll never forget when I was 16 years of age, a friend of mine handed me a book about the life of Mother Teresa. So for your audience that may not know who that is, Mother Teresa was a nun who was also a school teacher, and she decided that she wanted to help the orphans in India because she saw these orphans out there begging for food, nowhere to stay, and she started an orphanage. So I read this book about her life, and at such a young age, I got touched in my heart, and I said, that's what I want to do. I want to find a way to help people's lives. So that's when like the light went on in my life at 16. And then that's what I've been doing ever since.
We just want to quickly say, check out our happiness wellness products designed by us for individuals of all ages to help you bring a small bit of happiness to your home with our tangible tips and tools. Check them out in the show notes.
That is so amazing and inspirational. I mean, having a role model, especially like Mother Teresa, I love her so much, but just having that kind of role model and then helping, like discover through just learning and being open and reading different things and learning about different people is just such a great way to start discovering and finding out who you are. You've had such an amazing and iconic journey, I'm sure, but throughout this journey, what do you think your biggest challenge has been and how did you overcome this?
I think that a lot of people think of like biggest challenge. I never look at biggest because I think biggest challenge is biggest challenge at that moment. So if I was to break my leg, that'd be my biggest challenge at that moment, right? If I was to bump my head, that's my biggest challenge at the moment. So I don't really have a biggest challenge, but I've had a multiple of challenges. And I think that one of the challenges that I have faced is the fact that we were raised lower income financially. My mother worked at a donut shop. My father worked at a place called Bethlehem Steel. When I was little, we had 7 people in a 2-bedroom apartment. And to think that I'd go from that to someday living in Beverly Hills with 7 bathrooms and 3 fireplaces across the street from the biggest stars in the world is interesting. So I never knew that I'd get past where we were living and live the way and do the things I get to do now. But my biggest struggle at that point was the idea of lack and not having money to do the things I wanted to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's so true that oftentimes what we have in front of us as a challenge, regardless of whether it's the worst thing we've faced or not, is the worst. It's the greatest challenge because it's what we're having to deal with and we don't know exactly what the end result is going to look like. And I think that's very true, but it's incredible to see like how far hard work and discipline and motivation and passion in helping other people can get you, just like with your incredible story. And I mean, as a life coach, you must meet a lot of people who feel this sense of loss in the world and who've experienced some pretty major setbacks. So what are your top 3 tips for anyone listening on overcoming setbacks and finding one's way back to a meaningful life?
Okay, number 1, great question. So when somebody has a setback means you have set something. To set means to fix it, to lock it, to solidify, okay? So you can be set back in the area of your health, of addiction, of divorce. So most people, when they have a setback, they sit in a setback, they settle in a setback, okay? So I worked long and hard with about 5 psychologists on this, and then I wrote a book many, many years ago in 1990 on how to turn your setbacks to comebacks. And the best way to have a comeback is, number 1, you have to become awake. So I say to you 2 young ladies, because of the fact that you're gifted and you have a lot of drive and a lot of knowledge and information, is that you're moving very quickly through life. But if we're not careful, we'll become human doings rather than human beings. So to be is to be like fully present. So the first step to have a comeback is to become awake, become present again. Secondly, you take inventory. This is what people don't like to do, because I think a lot of people, they play a lot of roles in their mind on how they want their life to be or how their life is, and even how we project ourselves on social media. But to take inventory means you look at the different areas of your life. So when I life coach people, I say, okay, your mindset on a scale of 1 to 10, how's your mindset? That's the clarity of your mind, the strength of your mind. Your physical body, scale of 1 to 10, not just the way you look, but how you really feel and are. Scale of 1 to 10, what would you give yourself? Your spiritual life, where are you at spiritually? Where are you at with your job or your finances? Or if you have a boyfriend or a husband, or you're single, your relationships, your extended family, then your social life. So number 1, you become awake. Number 2, you take inventory. So to you young ladies, really think about this inventory thing. I guarantee you most of your friends are not taking proper inventory of their life.
Totally.
They're not thinking at your stage, like, how's my mindset? The clarity of mind, strength of mind, okay? So awake, take inventory. The last one, the third one, is you have to partner with the right people. So that's why when my assistant told me about what you guys are doing, I was excited to be on with you, because I'm impressed with what you guys are up to, because there's power in partnership. So you guys have created a podcast, a platform, a movement where other people can partner with you and learn and grow and enhance their life. So you could be the right person with the right plan, but you need the right partners.
Totally. It's like the people that we're surrounded by influence so heavily our values, our goals, even like the friends that you have. If you find that you don't feel like you can truly be yourself around them, or like they don't align with who you want to be. And I think this is definitely a struggle that teenagers might experience, because, I want to be popular, but maybe the popular people are not doing what you're interested in or pursuing your values. Then it's important to take a step back and realize, hey, I need to be around and be friends with people who align with me.
And I also love about what you talked about, taking inventory and actually checking up with yourself. Hey, am I being able to be present lately, and how am I feeling, spiritually, or however, just being able to take stock of how you've been doing and then being able to work on that. And if you feel like you're in a place of lack, finding a way to build that up and being able to feel more comfortable and strong in that area. And how do you stay focused on going towards a long-term goal that you're really aspiring to achieve when a lot of these short-term setbacks keep occurring?
So what happens is it's more of the point. So you become awake, take inventory, partner with the right people, but then you have to have the right principles. So we're living in a day where, wow, we can really learn. So I have a friend, Jamie Kern Lima. She has a best-selling book out called Worthy right now. Shout out to Jamie Kern Lima. Not only is she a billionaire as a woman, because she's an amazing businesswoman, but she has one of the top books out there called Worthy. So a young lady could read that book called Worthy and really learn some amazing principles. Somebody can study the life as a woman of Sarah Blakely, who created Spanx, and go like, wow, look what she's done. You could read my book, The Miracle Mentality, and learn principles. So you got to go from the partner to the principles. Like, what are your principles? What are your core values as far as honesty, integrity, right? And so the principles will then bring on the right plan. Too many people are trying to come up with a plan without having solid principles.
Absolutely. It's so true. Like, knowing truly what you want. And I think, like what you said with Sarah Blakely, or with your book, or with anyone who you aspire to be like, kind of focusing on their journey and their stories. Because I think a lot of times we look at somebody successful, like for instance you, and it's like, wow, this person has achieved so much. I could never do that. Or, oh my gosh, like this minor setbacks keep happening. And just like you said earlier today, like they seem like they're everything in the world right now. And realistically, even a few months from now, we'll be dealing with something totally new and totally different.
I also think, I just want to add in that having that kind of perspective and saying, this is going to be smaller in a few months, I'm just going to keep pushing through. I know that it'll end and it won't seem like the end of the world in a few months or a few weeks from now.
Yes, exactly. But just like focusing on hearing other people's stories, and like reading their books, maybe watching a show or like a documentary about them and learning about, well, they've experienced challenges too and setbacks too. But what helps someone become successful or become happier is keeping going.
Exactly. And having those kinds of core principles that you can stay rooted. So when you feel like maybe you're going to get pushed away from your goal, you kind of get rooted in, this is what I believe in, this is what I'm working towards, I can stay focused and keep going.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like what you guys are saying. And I think that's one reason I've been able to stay steady in unsteady times. Like, even when I was a little kid and we didn't have much, because I'm the youngest of 5 kids, my sisters used to call me the king, King. They said, you were like 4 and 5, walking around in your cowboy boots like you owned the world. And we were lower income, but my mindset was like beyond. And then in the area of sports, I had mentors that were much older than me that taught me to be a really good baseball player, basketball player, football player. So I had a lot of confidence, not like ego pride, but a lot of confidence at being good at sports. That did a lot for me. And so I feel that it's very important to realize that we've all been born an original and we should never want to be a copy. So I don't want to be Grant Cardone. He's one of my best friends. I don't want to be Elena. She's one of my great friends. I don't want to be Ed Milet. I don't want to be Gary Vee. Congratulations to everybody that's doing their phenomenal projects. I'm very okay being in my lane and doing the best I can at what I am called to do.
I love that. Just being you and embracing your passion and your values and your drivers. So on that note, what is one core reminder that you like to keep in mind to help you feel more confident, as you were saying, when you're trying to navigate a stressful or a challenging time?
Yeah, again, I think different than most. So I'm not ever trying to stir up confidence to overcome something. Like I'm in the middle of some pretty cool projects. Like I'm working on Broadway plays that are at the high level, like at 15 million at a pop, and they're going to work. I'm working on a movie right now with probably one of our top 3 male actors in the world. Okay. I'm working on my own talk show, which will come out next year. I already have a talk show now in 90 airports around the world. I have best-selling books, my last one with HarperCollins. But you see how chill I am. So to me, I'm never trying to stir up the water pump to get somewhere or conjure up courage. I feel that I have so much faith in what God has called me to do. And I believe that God's super on my natural makes me supernatural. So even if I'm having an off day, whatever, welcome to the planet. And I just want to get better, get through it, still be kind to people, still be consistent. But a lot of what I'm about is about walking in God's plan for my life and walking in God's strength for my life. And I think that's one reason I've been flowing at such a high level for so long.
For sure. I think it's just so amazing to have trust in something else bigger than yourself and be able to say, I'm just going to follow a plan. It's already set for me. I don't really need to worry as much. I know where I'm going, and I can trust in the fact that I will get to where I need to go. And I'm just gonna keep going, keep learning, and keep growing.
Yeah, I think the fact of learning as you go and growing as you go is so vital. Like when you start off on a project or when you start off on anything or on a book, you're not gonna have all the knowledge and be fully ready from day one. You learn so much as you grow through the journey, and embracing that every setback comes with an opportunity to learn and to grow, and that is the most important part.
100%. And when you're having, one of those off days, just having that kind of self-compassion and knowing this is just one day, this is not my whole life, and it will be okay.
Yeah.
And does self-compassion have a large role in recovering from setbacks? And if so, what is the best way to start developing more of this?
Yes, I think that it's important to realize that we are all undone people, UNDONE, and that this is a Tim Storey quote, we're all going through recovery and discovery at the same time. So in both of your lives, if I was to life coach you individually, you're all going through recovery and discovery at the same time. Recovery of your past, which is going to be different because you're two different people. Recovery of what you're currently going through. And if you're not careful, though, you'll get caught up what I call the recovery zone, and you'll miss the discovery zone. The discovery is the unfolding of the beautiful sides of life. So I'm going to tell on most parents. A lot of parents over 40, they're so caught up in the recovery zone of their own lives that they're not so happy with and how their kids are not acting perfect, that they miss the discovery of who they are in their 40s, who they are, meaning the parents, in their 50s and in their 60s. Most parents, I'm telling you, I work with people for a living, they kind of stay stuck at a certain age and they don't discover and keep flowing into new and beautiful places.
Oh, I love that. It's so true. You need to accept what's happened in the past, accept what's happening in the present, and then let yourself become and change and
Exactly.
evolve. And I
We're
think
always changing.
I think a lot what I even see with fellow teenagers is like you get stuck in this cycle of self-pity, and it's like, oh, I can't believe that happened to me. I feel so bad for myself. Like, how am I ever going to overcome this? And like, of course it's important to feel your feelings, but it's important, like you just said, to rediscover and realize that there's more. We are young. Even if you're a parent, like, you still have all this to go and all this to discover and explore, and I think that's an important thing to remember.
Yeah, so let's go there for a second. So because I work with entertainers, so I asked Brad Pitt's mother, what did he want to be when he was younger? He wanted to be an architect, he wanted to be an actor, he wanted to be a director. He did it all. I asked Katy Perry's mother. I'm super close with that family. She wanted to be a singer. She wanted to be a humanitarian. I asked Kanye West's mother, Donda, when she was alive, what did Kanye want to be? He wanted to be a designer in clothes. That's how he became a billionaire, is through the clothes side. He also wanted to be a humanitarian. I asked Robert Downey Jr.'s mother, what did he want to become? I mean, later he becomes Iron Man. He wanted to be a director like his dad. He wanted to be an actor and a humanitarian. Now, think about this for a second. When these guys were little, they were already telling their parents what they were going to become. But it took a lot of things for them to go through until they manifested themselves as we know them. Okay? So what's powerful about this is that I think, to both of you ladies, you both know that you're supposed to do something big. So now, how do we get out what is that big thing? It's going to evolve. It's going to unfold. It's going to come from discovery. Okay? You're going to start the discovery. The discovery starts to come. And a lot of it's going to come from observation of other people who are doing great things. But dreams come true. That's what I know. In the world that I live in, I get to watch it. Dreams come true.
Oh, I love that. That's so amazing how all these super famous people kind of already had a growing ambition for what they later on pursued so successfully. And you're right. When you're a teenager, it's all about discovery and learning about yourself. And so I have a question. What did you want to be when you were younger?
I wanted to be a humanitarian. I mean, and I still am, but I saw myself as a cool, hip Mother Teresa. I didn't know I'd be the life coach to the stars. I did not know I'd be on TV. I didn't know I'd be in movies. I didn't know I'd be all this, whatever I am. I saw myself just helping hurting people, which I continue to love to do. So yeah, like a lot of young people that come up to me at all these conferences, they're like, oh my God, Tim Storey, like, how did you manifest it? Okay, that verbiage works for some people. It really can. But for me, I didn't sit around thinking of manifesting something. I was just like plowing the ground, planting the seed, watering the seed, and now I got a very big harvest.
Oh, I love
that so much. Just constantly working, not just always thinking about it. I think that, building up that confidence as well as manifesting it is so important. But again, you can't just be manifesting it. You also need to be working towards it. You also need to be setting goals for yourself and slowly climbing up or slowly planting that so that you can get that harvest. I think that is, again, so incredibly important. And what do you think is one piece of advice that you would want to give to this teenage self of yours that wanted to be a humanitarian?
I would say calm down. CALM, calm down. Because this pace that we're at, like this TikTok pace, it doesn't always happen that fast. So let me give you an example. Senior year of high school, I got invited to the prom by a very pretty foreign exchange student named Nina. And she invited me to the prom, and it's supposed to be the guy that does it, but I was shy. And so Nina invited me to the prom, but I had a problem, ladies. I didn't used to break out much, but this particular day, I got what they called an acne cyst on the tip of my nose. Okay. So she invited me to the prom, and it was already going to be late. Truth be told, she thought my friend Mark was going to invite her, and he never did. He invited a girl named Janet. This is funny. So Nina invites me. She was so pretty. And I had this acne cyst on my nose, and it was big. And I said, Nina, let me get back to you. So I go back and I tell some of my female friends, and they're like, what? She's like one of the most beautiful women in the school and from another country. Just say yes. And I go to one of my girlfriends, my female friends, I go, look at the size of my pimple, and it's getting bigger. You guys, it was just like do, like Jaws, the Jaws theme. Okay. So imagine that I said no to her to go to the prom because I was so caught up with the big pimple on the tip of my nose. If I was to do it over again, I was 17 at the time, I would have gone with the pimple on my nose. So be patient. This too shall pass. Life is flawed. Show up to big things, even when you're undone.
I love that. Those
That's
are
so
that's
amazing.
such a funny story. And I think a lot of teens can absolutely relate to that awkward
For sure.
time, that awkward feeling.
I missed my opportunity. I later took her out as friends, but I missed the opportunity, and she was so bummed out because she really liked me as a person, and she really wanted to go. She ended up going with another guy, but I missed it by being all into my wrong thinking when just go undone. Who cares? I had a big pimple that went away after a period of time.
I love that.
For
It's
sure.
true. It's true. Like sometimes we get so into our own head and we start to think like, oh, everyone's staring at me. Everyone is noticing the stupid thing that I
They're
said.
all wondering
or
why I'm here if
why-
I have a giant
exactly.
pimple.
Where we have to realize that everybody is kind of in their own heads, so they don't spend nearly as much time thinking about us. And I think that's something that a lot of us as teens don't think about, but it's something that we should probably think about.
Like now at this stage of life, if there's something really going on in my life and I feel too undone and I have to be at the Beverly Hills Hotel for something, I may not go just because of I'm now Tim Storey. And then people may say, oh, he looked like something was wrong with him because maybe I had eye surgery or this or that or that. So, there's times you have to miss, but a lot of times we play injured. I honestly think out of 365 days of the year, a lot of the time we play injured. We're hormonal. We may have a headache. Someone may have bothered us, but you just get up and you go, right? And you
Absolutely.
show the best you can and be kind to people.
I heard this really amazing story. I don't remember where I heard it, but it was like somebody said that if you have one bad moment in a day and you let that affect the rest of your day, it's almost like having one bad day in a month. And are you really going to have a bad month just because of that one day? Because that
That's
moment
good.
is so small, you shouldn't just let that affect your whole entire day, and that moment will pass. you just got to keep moving and not let it affect you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think the key is that, like, to you young ladies, you're in seasons of your life. Like the season that you're in. So I'll walk you through this. From 1 to 20 is what's called the first quarter. Like, let's say, like in sports, 1 to 20. 20 to 40 is your second quarter. So it's weird for you guys to think, oh my God, someday I'll be 38. Okay. So watch. 20 to 40 is second quarter. 40 to 60 is the third quarter. Someday you guys are going to be between 40 to 60. Okay. Fourth quarter, watch this, is 60 to 80. Okay. How weird is that going to be that hopefully you're going to be 68 years of age, 73 years of age. But nowadays, there is the fifth quarter, which I call the bonus, where people are living 80 to 100. Like some of the most powerful men that I know that are my mentors are 90, 91, 92, 93, running empires and in good shape. Okay. So, don't fixate just on 0 to 20 or even 20 to 40. So when I say these things, what goes through you ladies' minds?
It's so interesting to think about how, right now it's like you've barely lived. Like for me, I'm still in high school, right? And to think about this whole world outside of high school, like how most of your life is spent not even in school when that's all you've known as a teenager is wild to think about, and it's exciting.
I don't know your age. So what is your age?
I'm 16.
I'm 14.
So you're in the first quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So look how much you guys have grown at 16 and 14 in just the last 2 years.
Yeah, that's a lot of growth. I mean, if you can imagine how much you changed throughout all of those quarters, I mean, it's almost impossible to say that you're going to be the same in your third quarter as you will in your fourth quarter, or even like you're always constantly changing. It's impossible to stay the same or expect yourself to be the same type of person and still be interested in the exact same types of things.
I am not the same guy. Like, what was interesting to me in my 20s of the kind of cars I drove, the people I dated, is a whole different thing than the stage that I'm in now. Now, I don't put myself down for that stage because that's just how I felt at that age. That's what I was around. That's the images I saw. That's what a lot of my friends were doing. I didn't want to be left out. So you're like kind of flowing that way. But we learn 3 ways: education, conversation, and observation. So at 14 and 16, if I was life coaching you two as your cool uncle, then I want to build you up and out through education. I want you to really educate the heck out of yourself and learn not just from what you learn in school, but other books, documentaries. So you're way ahead, right? So that's the education. The conversation, look at how you're sparring with a Tim Storey. I spar with the greatest minds in the world. I interview the greatest minds in the world. You guys are sparring with me, this is a boxing term, and doing fantastic. You're not like lost or gone. You're in the moment and sparring with me at 14 and 16. You should be very proud of yourself.
Oh, thank you
so much.
So I have a quick question that one of our favorite questions is to ask in this podcast. And first of all, I just want to say that is so true, and it's amazing what you can learn through speaking with people and through like unconventional ways of learning, like watching documentaries, like things that you wouldn't think about, just getting out of your comfort
I also love
zone.
watching TED Talks and like master classes.
And we are just so honored to speak with you because we look up to like all the stars that you speak with, and so it's amazing for us. But what is something that you like to do every day that brings you a small bit of happiness?
So I'm going to take you off I'm going to constantly take you off because, again, I'm not the average guy. So when you talk to Pharrell Williams, he is a producer. He does films. He does Broadway plays. He runs the men's division of Louis Vuitton. Okay. When you're talking to Kanye, mostly when he's in his better self, that's been my little brother since 2006. We're great friends. And I've known Kim since she was 14. So when you're talking to Kanye, he's a creative. Most creatives, we can't just give you an answer based on a certain question. Okay. So for me, I don't really think a lot about like, here's where I'm at, and this is where I need to be. How do I get there? It's morning. All right, buddy. Number one, you need to meditate on, I'm on my grind. Or you have to do 3 pages of journaling. For those that do all that stuff every day, look, and it works for a lot of people. I'm a creative. I wake up early because I want to. I go to the gym because I want to. I study about an hour to 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, already done it today, because I want to. I'm in the I want to. I'm not on my grind just to be on my grind. Because even since I was probably 40, I was living in the bonus. I wasn't trying to accomplish more, be better than the next guy. I was already flying high. So I'm living in the bonus. So right now what I'm excited about is talking to you too.
Oh, thank you. That's very
We
kind.
are so honored also to be speaking with you today.
Yes. But I really love what you said about doing what you want to, because I think that's so important in living in the present moment. It's like, I really want to go and work out, so I'm going to do that. And maybe that means I don't get to do something else. Like maybe that means I don't get to, meditate today because I don't want to do that, and not forcing yourself to do something.
Exactly. I
is
find
important.
that whenever I'm trying to do something, but I come at it at the mindset, oh, I have to do this even though I don't really want to, but I'm just forcing myself, you don't perform as well as you showing up saying, I'm really excited to do this today, and let's say, working out or something.
But I think it's knowing what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Like if you know that you like to go to the gym, you know that you like to study, you know that you like to wake up in the early mornings, and you do that because you know that that's what you want to, and that's what will lead you to more happiness.
I agree.
So if our audience wants to, I know we have to wrap up shortly, but if our audience wants to learn more and keep up with all the exciting things that are coming up, where can they find you?
So number one, great interview by both of you.
Thank you.
And the way you play off each other is fantastic. How long have you been doing this podcast now?
We launched it in September,
yeah.
this September. So it's been a few months now. We learned so much constantly.
For sure.
Yeah, you guys are like great bouncing off each other. It like works. And 2 different skill sets, but yet there's a real alliance. So best way to find out what I do is just, so Tim, TimStorey.com. So TimStorey.com. Then we're on Instagram. We have over 3 million followers now on Instagram alone. And so we do all the different social media stuff, but TimStorey.com.
Perfect. That is amazing. And thank you so much for joining us today.
This has been so amazing.
So motivating and so inspiring. And yeah, thank you.
You guys were awesome.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of Hack Your Happiness, and thank you so much to Tim for joining us today.
Yes, he is so motivational and so inspiring, and I'm just so excited that we got to speak with him today. Anastasia, what is your biggest takeaway?
I think my biggest takeaway is to be present and to appreciate everything that you have going on right now, because you have time to worry about what's going on later, and right now you just need to appreciate and understand that what you're going through probably isn't the biggest challenge you're ever going to deal with, and there's always going to be more, but just appreciate what's good and try to keep growing and keep learning.
I love that so much. One of my biggest takeaways is what Tim said about constantly recovering, but also rediscovering. Like, it's important to acknowledge and kind of move along from the struggles and the challenges that we've faced in the past, but not letting those define us, constantly rediscovering ourselves, learning what we can take from those challenges and what we can become because of them. And I think that that's so important on dealing with setbacks.
I love that so much. If you enjoyed watching this week's episode, please leave us a 5-star review from wherever you're listening. It really helps us out and we really appreciate it.
Also, be sure to join our happiness family. We really appreciate it, and it's entirely free. And you can do that by following Hack Your Happiness on whatever podcast platform you're listening on now.
See you next time!